are prices dictated based on what type of zoning it is? And can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yes, typically, I'm going to talk pre-COVID because we don't know the full effects of COVID yet. But I think this will hold true even after COVID, after we give it a chance to work its way out and we get a vaccine and all that. But typically, the highest prices for property are retail, because retail is driven by traffic. So the higher visibility, the more traffic, the more sales, the higher you can pay for a property. Now, there's also in downtown Louisville, Central Business District, there's other factors. Might not be retail, but it could be an arena that everybody wants. So you're going to pay top dollar to have the exact location that you want, next to the river, looking at the city. So again, top dollar for that, top dollar for retail. The lesser prices would be for like large tracts of land for a subdivision. Industrial property is typically less, but again, it depends. I could say the general, if you were going to put a blanket over it, the highest price you're going to pay is a retail. For retail use, because if one has high traffic, great access to get in and out of the property, easy access to get in and out of the property, and high traffic and great visibility, that's going to draw a lot of people there. And if a lot of people are drawn to a certain area, then the sales are higher. And if the sales are higher, you can pay more, okay, for the land and do your development. So then it would go down from there, from retail. Sometimes industrial property and price and housing, tracts for housing are priced similarly, but obviously you're not going to put an industrial tract inside a tract that's already subdivision, and you would never want to put a subdivision inside a tract that's industrial. They're not compatible. The other thing about zoning that should be noted is, and this is in the regs, that wherever property is zoned, there is a graduation of uses. Like if you have a single family housing use, then maybe next to that could be a multifamily housing use, and next to that maybe an office use, and next to that maybe a retail use, and next to that maybe an industrial use. So it's a gradual change of use that is not too different from what's there, but it's more compatible. Just think of, you're living in a house and you have an industrial plant right next to you. That wouldn't be too good. But if you're living in a house and you have a multifamily house next to you, that's not bad. It's still somebody living there. Then multifamily might be next to an office, and then the office might be next to a retail. Then retail might be next to an industrial. So there's these gradual uses, and that's designed by plan. There's also rural use, like agricultural use or rural residential, where it's more of a land type that's more of a natural setting that fits the area better. That you wouldn't have necessarily an office setting in a bucolic rural setting necessarily, and offices have to be near services too. So you got to think about the whole process. But the real reason zoning was established is to maintain property values. If you bought a big, beautiful house on a nice piece of land, you're zoned a certain way, and you don't want an industrial plant coming next to you, typically. So that's why the zoning process is arduous and tedious a lot of times. So everybody has a chance to comment, and we make daggone sure that the use of the land is compatible with the surroundings, and it's just a better method. So it takes a while. That's by design, and they have these layers of uses that are compatible to the land, and that keeps the values high. Because if you're, just think if you're in a house, you'd want the house, person next to you to have a house and not necessarily an industrial plant.